to the New World Literature, North America's famous authors and works are A Pretty Story, written by Francis Hopkinson in the year 1774, History of New Hampshire by Jeremy Belknap in the year 784 to 792, Charlotte Temper, written by Susanna Rawson in the year 791, The Adventure of Tom Sawyer, written by Mark Twain in the year of 1876, To Kill a Mockingbird, written by Harper Lee in the year of 1960. You can watch some of North America's famous works. Enjoy!
Harper Lee was born in 1927 in Monroeville, Alabama, where her father practiced law. While she was growing up, she used to sit up in the balcony at a local courthouse watching her father work. She was a scribbler from the age of 7, but always intended to become a lawyer like her dad. After law school and a year in Oxford on a Fulbright scholarship, she was working in New York with a friend. A literary agent told her she should write down some of the stories she's been telling about her childhood. She accepted the challenge and spent the next 4 years holed up in a cold water flat, struggling to get them down on paper. She herself described the time it took to complete the book as a long and hopeless period of writing the book over and over again. But in 1960, when Harper was 34, To Kill a Mockingbird was published. A year later, it was still on the bestseller list that captured both the Pulitzer Prize and a big movie contract, with Gregory Peck expressing interest in playing Atticus Finch. Harper Lee eventually returned to Monroeville and set up her writing studio in the offices of her father's law practice. And now, To Kill a Mockingbird. What if you were a 6-year-old girl living in Macomb Country, Alabama? Filled with many problems and secrets. When whites were favored even in their wrongdoings. When people were judged not by the quality of their character, but by the color of their skin. The fight for equality and justice has begun.
A girl, young but different from the rest. A mysterious one. A house that creeps everyone that passes by. The children's playing, sneaking around the house. A loving father, also a wise lawyer. He fought for what's right. I'd rather shot at thinkers in the backyard. But I know you'll go after first. Shoot all the blue jays you want, if you can hear them. But remember, it's a sin to kill a mockingbird. The world is very unfair.
Try to put yourself in other people's shoes.
The setting of Maycomb, Alabama in the early 90s is depicted by H.Ali through images, similes, and metaphors. She characterizes the town as wary using personification. The appearance of the town is depicted under various weather conditions by Lee. To underline her points, she also explains the bathing routines of Maycomb's female population. Harper Lee's novel might be considered the epitome of how a fine literary work should be written because of the manner she wrote it. The reader will be intrigued by the use of some of these symbols. Lee's ability to vividly describe and develop her characters is another example of her expertise. Walter's eyes, as blue as dear Harry's, were red-rimmed and watery, as if she had been fed on fish food. His face was completely devoid of color, with the exception of a pink tip on his nose. He nervously fidgeted with the metal hooks on the straps of his overalls. This is only one example of how Lee uses even small characters, like Walter Cunningham, to create a picture for the reader. You nearly feel as if you're watching the novel unfold in front of your eyes.
Good evening. Welcome to the Literature from the New World Talk Show. And tonight, our guest is an American novelist best known for her 1960 novel, To Kill a Mockingbird. She received an award in 1961 Pulitzer Prize and became a modern American literature. Let us all welcome Neil Harper Lee.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
So, today, we will be asking some questions, Lee, since this is the only show that exposed the true meaning of the literature. Neil, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready, Adam.
So what are we waiting for? Let's start. We know To Kill a Mockingbird was enormously popular. It was translated into some 40 languages, sold more than 40 million copies worldwide. And this is the only one and the most assigned novels in American schools. But what influenced you to write the novel To Kill a Mockingbird?
There are several influences that lead me to write the novel To Kill a Mockingbird, including a case in my hometown, Monroeville, in which a white woman falsely accused a black man of raping her. The story was covered in my father's newspaper, who once defended two black men accused of killing a white store owner, a case which probably inspired me, especially in creating the character Atticus.
Wow, Lee. Based to the beloved patriarch of her own father, Hazeley, who worked as a lawyer and a writer. Although he lost the case, the lessons he imparted to his daughter clearly left their remark. Hex, what is the genre of To Kill a Mockingbird?
To Kill a Mockingbird is primarily an example of Southern Gothic fiction that it takes place in the South, contains both dark and comedic elements, uses Southern vernacular, and references the supernatural.
However, Lee's characters are more sympathetic than in many Southern Gothic novels, whose authors exaggerate their characters' defects for more comedic purposes.
Yeah, that's true, Adam.
So tell me, Lee, what is the tradition of the novel?
To Kill a Mockingbird is set in a setting infamous for its racism. In the 1930s and in the town of Macomb, Alabama, the residents are extremely racist and believe that there is no such thing as equality between people, particularly those of different races. In the novel, each person in Macomb had their own social role, from the wealthy whites to the farmers to the impoverished blacks who worked for them. One could argue that Macomb residents were simply set in their ways and prospered despite their racism because that was how they lived in the setting and with that tradition. I'd like to propose that just because something is traditional does not necessarily mean it's beneficial.
Oh, the racial elements of the novel show how people treated each other in South during this time. Macomb County, where the novel is set, closely resembles the place where you was born and spent most of your life.
Yeah, that's right, Ada. That's why To Kill a Mockingbird is very close to my heart.
And this is the end of our questions. I hope this talk show answered all the questions you've been asking for. Thank you, Harper Lee, for joining us.
Thank you, Adam, for inviting me on this show. And thank you for all the people who support my novel.
This has been the end of our show. Once again, thank you for watching.
A story of friendship, imagination, and falsehood will be unfolded today. Our today's episode is all about the adventure of Tom Sawyer. But before that, how are you guys? Me, I am so far excited for what we will talk about today. Tom Sawyer's naughtiness is really relatable. I remember when he was punished because he was caught lying about going to school. He even tricked his friends into painting the fence because he hates work. I admit, he has a sharp wit. But can we take a moment to applaud Aunt Polly for taking Tom into her care when his parents died? I admire her kindness to Tom, especially her patience whenever Tom pulls a trick and lies to cover up his actions. And do not forget Sid, Tom's brother, who is the opposite of him. He told the truth to Aunt Polly, that's why Tom got caught. But he told the truth. Then, there comes Becky. Becky Thatcher, the girl who captured Tom's heart. Guys, I felt a second-hand embarrassment when Tom did tricks to get her attention, especially when he paid for tickets to earn a Bible. But he was not able to answer Becky's father when he asked about Jesus' first two disciples. He said Goliath and David. He even advanced his actions to Becky and quickly made her engaged to him, but in an instant, he broke her heart. Poor Becky. In return, Tom made a plan to run away with Joe Harper and Huck, his friends. What a silly move. But his plan worked and Becky missed him. Because of Tom and Huck's adventurous traits, they even witnessed a crime in the graveyard.
Run.
It's horrifying how Indian Joe could easily kill Doc Robinson and put the blame on Muff Potter. His desires to get even pushed him to kill Doc Robinson, and he deserves to be imprisoned for it. Witnessing that event really tormented Huck and Tom. It's actually scary when you see the killer roaming around St. Petersburg while an innocent person is being pressed. Tom's courage to speak up is commendable, as well as Huck when he seeks for help. Plus the fact that Tom and Huck did not keep the gold in the cave and they revealed it to others. How noble they are. The Adventure of Tom Sawyer is a good story, and it taught me that children are lovable despite their imperfections and bad grooming. Tom is mischievous and often judged because of his personality, but when you get to know him, you will know that he has a good heart and strong moral integrity. I like how the story was made. You can see Tom's character development, superstition, society's hypocrisy, and social exclusion. The story also shows crime, trading, Tom and Huck's innocent approach to the world, Becky and Tom showing off to get each other's attention, and they even used imagery, allegory, allusion, and symbolism such as the cave that Tom has to pass, the storm as the danger, and the treasure that marks the end of the boy's journey. The Adventure of Tom Sawyer's genre is Bildungsroman, a picaresque novel, satire, folk, and children's literature. It is a novel written by Mark Twain in 1876. Mark Twain based the adventure of Tom Sawyer on his personal memories of growing up in Hannibal in the 1840s. He said that he based Tom Sawyer's personality on the three boys he knew. Mary is based on Mark Twain's sister, Pamela. Sid is based on Mark Twain's younger brother, Henry. Huck and Injun Joe are also based on real-life counterparts. The end. I enjoyed today's episode and I hope all the listeners enjoyed it too. Thank you guys for listening to today's episode. I hope you learned something new.